All right, we are here. Hey guys, good morning. Good morning, David. What's up, man? Or good afternoon for you, I guess.
Yeah, good morning to everybody listening in the morning, and good rest of the day to everybody else.
We are on, dude. We just this past Thursday, yesterday, number 90. Can you
Wow.
believe that?
No,
Yeah.
literally, I get it.
We should probably do something semi-special for the 100th. Maybe it's like our favorite quotes or our favorite nuggets from the episodes or our favorite episodes or something. But if we recorded, five this week or something like that, then I mean we're right up at it. So it's pretty amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. I don't even know what we should do for 100. It seems like a lot of pressure.
Yeah, maybe we'll look and see what some other people did for their 100th. Or you know what? The way this goes is it feels like we could blow by 100 and we'll be at 200 before we know it. But yeah, I don't know. I like to celebrate milestones, so we'll figure something out. All right. Well, if you've been through with us through 100, man, congratulations. I know a lot of folks. It's funny because we talk as if people have been with us through the whole experience, but a lot of especially recent fans, um, I call them fans because I don't know what else to call them, right? Like listeners. How about listeners? Uh, they'll say, "Oh yeah, this is great. I just found you guys, da da da, and I'm on episode 20." I'm thinking, episode 20? Gosh, where in the world was I? Was I still in Baja? Like it seems so long ago. Um,
So for everybody who just, this is the first episode they listen to, we should probably explain what we're doing. Like,
what are we doing?
yeah, this is the live version of the podcast. So if this is way too casual for you, then check out one of the other episodes because we have a live hangout and everybody can watch it. Um, what time is it, Chris? Is it 8 a.m. or
It's
10 a.m.?
9 Central. It's 9 Central, so I usually use Eastern time, so I'd say 10 Eastern, a.m.
Okay.
Eastern.
And then there's
Yeah.
abpweekly.com, and that's where you can watch live and leave comments and chat with us while we're doing this. And we usually take on some questions if there are any and review the week of the app business world and our own episodes and stuff we did.
Yeah. Yeah, and we weren't, this is kind of well, I want to say it's a newer thing. I don't know that we said, oh, we'll try it and see if it catches on. I don't know that it's ever caught on, but we kind of enjoy doing it, so we just keep doing it. Um, but we actually have some folks on the abpweekly.com today, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
In
I
fact,
was telling Alejandro, or
yeah, that's
how
right.
do you even
That's right.
pronounce? Yeah,
Yeah.
I was telling him that we do a really poor job of promoting these live hangouts, but I think it's very nice format for producing 1/4 of our episodes now, and it gives us the freedom to just take time and review the week and see what we did good, what we didn't do good or well, I should say,
Hmm.
um, and also what happened, right? Both in our own little app business podcast universe, but also in the app mobile world.
Yeah, that's the one thing I like is, you listen to other podcasts, and I know they have to do it, but they get ahead because you have to have some in the bank, right? Like you have to have a bunch recorded. We've gotten to the point where we're recording on Thursday for the week, the following week. But if one of us has vacation or something, we have to plan ahead. So then, because mobile moves so fast, it's like, oh, that thing we're talking about already doesn't make sense because it's 3 weeks ago we recorded it. Something like that. So if we ever get ahead, or these are recorded Friday morning, and we don't edit it or anything. We just throw it into the podcast stream on Saturday morning. So it's like, hopefully this is super fresh content. Of course, with us blabbing on like this, it's probably it's probably not super helpful, but yeah, that's the point of this thing is to have like super relevant content, less formatted, just kind of like a review. So uh, with that, man, let's dig in. I've got the week that was for the ABP up. So let me just rattle through a couple. We had on Monday we had. Let me see if I got these dates right. Yeah, on Monday we had bookkeeping basics. And that was one of them, like, hey, we talk about this, and let's not assume everyone understands what we're talking about. Here's specifically what we mean when we say hire a bookkeeper. Like, here's how to do it, right? Should
And
be
that
the
was a
easiest
Chris episode where you were
kind of a
um,
Chris episode.
yeah, giving us the details on that. I really liked it. I think I'm gonna listen again in a week or two, so just to keep it fresh in my mind.
A couple folks emailed me, and I connected them with Sheila. So Sheila's like, "Oh my
Nice.
gosh, that's like my podcast episode." So she felt like I was like I really supporting her, but she's been outstanding. And um, I pay her, I think, $10 an hour, maybe 12, and it ends up being like 2 hours a week. So basically, for $100 a month, it just gets done and gets done right. And she owns the whole thing, you know. So I've taken tons of accounting classes, and she knows it way better than I do. So, yeah, that was a fun one to do. The next one was from our buddy Gab, and he just did you know we spelled his name wrong in the title? Yeah, he's like, hey man, I can't promote this because you got Manchuret instead of Mashuret. Anyways, so we had Gab on
God damn it.
Wednesday, and yeah. Oh, in fact, look at the image. Shoot. So the image has the wrong spelling because I couldn't change that. Uh, Gab, sorry,
My
dude.
bad.
So we'll have to change that image. But so we had Gab on, and a look at iOS 8. Oh, speaking of which, did you see iTunes Connect changed? Yeah, if you go into your iTunes Connect
Yes, I did.
dashboard, it all looks different. Yeah.
Very different.
So it looks different, but I was expecting more. I thought they were providing some analytics in the dashboard, and I hadn't seen that yet. So either I
Well,
don't know where to navigate to, or they haven't.
no, I think they just keep it for the presentation if they have something like that. Why should they share that up front when they have this big announcement coming up on Tuesday?
Yeah. Well, yeah, but they already announced it, didn't they? I don't know how this stuff works, but they manage the press so well and their
Yeah.
fans so well that it's like whatever they're doing it right. So who am I to say? But yeah, the Gab episode, it's another one of these like here's what to expect on iOS 8, and I'm telling you, like we say this often, we're living this with you guys. Like it's not. I mean, selfishly, it's not even really for anyone. It's like, hey David, what's going on in mobile this week? Let's talk about some stuff, and we record it and publish it.
Yeah.
And you can tell from a lot of the conversations that we're struggling with the same things that other publishers or developers or producers or whatever we call them are struggling with. And so when we have someone like Gab on, who all he does is nerd out on ASO and how it's going to affect, how it's going to be changed, and iOS 8 and all that kind of stuff, we're learning too. Like we're not. It's not like we're like, let's ask Gab stuff we already know and record it. It's these are questions we have as well. So I
Totally.
hope that comes off. That we're as interested in our guests as we hope you are, because they're answering the same questions we hope you have. Should I just keep going? Yeah. Listen aggressively is the next one.
Let's go through the episodes and then um, I want to give a shout out, but I'm not going to tell
Okay.
you to whom.
Okay. So listen aggressively was Thursdays, and I would call that David called it more of a Chris episode, but I think it's more of a David episode actually. But either way, it's one of these like business skill, life skill type of episodes, and just especially for folks that don't have a business background, it's really helpful to understand some of the mental frameworks that are used for salespeople or in business or whatever. And so it was one of those where it's like, hey, this is how top salespeople sell stuff, and this is how you can incorporate it in your, excuse me, B2B business or even your consumer business. So I think that was a pretty quick episode, but I think that was a good one too. Okay, all yours. What do you got?
Well, I don't know if we should announce this already, but as Alejandro is in the chat, I think we can say that we are going to be on their podcast sometime.
Oh yeah, we're
Uh,
super famous.
yeah, and we don't know when it's going to come out, but we're definitely gonna let people know on Twitter, etc. But I just wanted to mention, him and JJ from
Yeah,
STL Tech Talk, I think, right?
yeah. It's St. Louis Tech Talk. Yeah. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Yeah, it's St. Louis Tech Talk with the website, the URL is
Hey,
STL
Chris.
Tech Talk.
Yeah, okay, I was losing you for a couple of seconds there, but yeah,
Hmm.
STL Tech Talk had a fun hour or so of conversation, and these guys just um, really showed me that it's good to have a podcast like this and that you can make some impact. And that makes me really happy and want to say, this is the kind of feedback that keeps us going on the podcast when we can see that people really appreciate at least some of the episodes, right? So wanted to
Hmm.
say thank you, and that was a very nice conversation. And if if you're in any way, in St. Louis or just interested in another tech podcast, I would check it out.
Yeah, we were making fun of them because they made a comment about their listeners in Japan. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah,
you're two listeners. And he's like, no, man, we got like 30 listeners in Japan. And
yeah, quite funny, right?
it was just, yeah, it was just like, oh, okay, because I can get it. Like, if you really enjoy consuming tech information, it doesn't matter if it's, that's great at St. Louis Focus, which is, David, if you don't know, like in the middle of the United States. Um, uh, it's maybe people into it. So yeah, it was cool. And you know what I really got out of that was, besides for it's fun to talk to other people that are doing this stuff. Um, for people, we talk to a lot of people that are in it like we are in mobile, and we're so in this world of the mobile stuff and this, all the the DC kind of stuff where we all read the same books and kind of have the same mindsets or whatever going towards the stuff. And then we talk to guys that are like doing a 9 to 5 lifestyle, or an American thing. Basically, my people, what I've been doing for the last decade or more, and it just shows how much I've learned in the last 2 3 years, and how much we can help folks take those steps or evaluate their ideas or save money or know when to spend money and all these kinds of things that, it's not that I take it for granted. It's just that they were really like, "Oh wow, you guys think so out of the box on that," and we were thinking, "Dude, that's exactly how everyone thinks." I thought. So it's just really rewarding to see, like, we are just like a lot of the listeners are. If you've published several apps, you're way ahead of what the dreamers are doing. Like way ahead of what people who have never published an app where they are. And yeah, it was just like a big reminder, like, wow, we can really help these people, and that was kind of cool. Did I lose you again?
No, do we even
Okay.
know which episodes are coming up next week? Do we already have that set, or is that kind of surprise?
Well, we're the bosses, so let me pull it up and let me see what we got. We've got here. Here are our choices, and we can decide what we want to do. Oh, we should do. We got that Nomad CLI David conversation. I say we go with Eric right away. And then we have keywords, income expectations, and evaluating app ideas. Those are our 5 that we have in the can.
Yeah, and that tells the listeners nothing. So,
Yeah, but we got to decide which ones we want, and then we'll riff on it.
so, well, what did you say we should do first?
I think we should do your Nomad CLI, just because that we recorded like 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Um,
Hmm.
yeah, so Nomad CLI is like a suite of software, suite of command line interfaces you can install, and so it's kind of a more like a developer heavy episode, but it's useful for definitely every team or every person that's working with iOS software, um, and it can help you with all kinds of tedious tasks that are setting up the app ID or device lists or managing provisioning profiles, certificates, these kind of things. So basically, the episode is about saving time with the iOS workflow and avoiding mistakes, making mistakes because you have to do these things manually every time, which you can avoid by just having these commands in place. And so I think that's one that definitely everybody should check out because it can maybe help them optimize their workflows that they have. And that means time and money saved.
Hmm. No comment.
What's next?
Yeah, I agree. There's actually a couple epiphanies that came out of that episode where it's like, man, it really helps to have a tech savvy or tech, focused partner. Let's do Eric next. We'll do Eric for Wednesday. My man crush on Eric Seufert. He's the guy that does Mobile Dev Memo and Freemium Economics book, and then he's a marketing guy. Well, he's not a marketing guy. He's the head of marketing for Wooga, which is a company that has, I think their most famous game is Jelly Splash, but they have a couple others that are similar. And I mean, we're talking, tens of millions of downloads type of apps. And he's just a dude that's really in it. And I really enjoyed talking with him. We talked for almost an hour with him,
Yeah.
and he was just really. There are a couple things that we had to edit out because I was getting too close to stuff he doesn't control, like Wooga stuff, which is the company he works for. But if you're like on the fence, like we're always talking analytics, and if you're a long-time listener, or even like the last 20 episodes, our stance on analytics. Like you're not even trying if you don't have analytics in your app, right?
Yeah.
Period.
Exactly.
And then reading using the analytics. But yeah, Eric is a guy that everything he does is tested and data-driven decisions and all this kind of stuff. And I think right now I don't remember the specific things that he said, but I think the overall theme was it just kind of hammered home the point, like, look who you're competing with. Like this is
Exactly.
what these guys are doing, and if you're not even doing basic analytics, which is again, I keep going back to that Vision Mobile report where it was like 20% use analytics, and it's just like, and that number was down almost 100% or 50% from the previous year. It was like 35% to 20%.
Yeah.
And maybe it's people can't make use of analytics, which is what App Jetpack's for, if we could ever get that thing out. But yeah, I just thought it was a really strong, a really good reminder. Like, look, you just stop. In fact, we even said this: stop what you're doing, go put analytics in your app. Don't make a better icon. Don't make
Yeah.
a better screenshots. Stop what you're doing, go put analytics in your app, and just stop. Quit pretending. And I think that was a good guest for that message because he
Yeah.
definitely
And
agrees with
Eric is
that.
the
He's
guy who
definitely that guy.
does Mobile Dev Memo, which is a source we heavily pull from to get our fix of articles and stuff like that. And he's just very, very involved in the entire industry. And he really knows what the different players are doing, both because he reads all the articles that he promotes there, and also
Right.
because he is in a position in his company where he's, I think, head of marketing or something like that. So he really is basically in a coordination seat. So he described it as there's all these teams who do the individual apps, and then marketing is the central thing where they coordinate and speak and help each of those teams. But that means he's really sitting at the source of information. He knows what everybody is doing, and he also needs to stay on top of his game in order to be helpful to all those teams. So he's really, I think, a great guest for a podcast in terms of picking someone's brain and seeing what the insights are into the industry.
Yeah. Yeah, the question I asked him about, does he have his own apps? And he said, no, I haven't really noticed that. Like he didn't even notice he didn't have his own apps, or he didn't know why, or something
Uh,
like that. But it'd be really interesting to follow his own apps and see what he, like if he were to start from scratch, what would the minimum stuff he put in his app look like? Because again, this is the guy who understands every retention mechanic and any gamification tools out there, which is, that's important. We all should have a really good handle on that. But then, he has data to say this one works better than this one in this type of game or whatever. It'd be interesting to see what he did with his own apps. But yeah, that was a really fun conversation. Something we've both been looking forward to for a while. Okay, our choices for for Thursday's episode are income expectations, keyword tools or whatever, and evaluating app ideas.
Yeah, I think we go with evaluating app ideas because
Okay.
that's something we have been asked a lot. and income
Yeah.
expectations kind of builds upon that.
Oh yeah,
So
that's right.
so yeah, we don't basically get back to this age-old question of, I have this app idea, or what am I going to do in order to know if it's any good? And it's not like we haven't talked about that on the podcast. Of course we have, but also it's kind of a different angle this time. Certainly, we need to hammer home the point again that you need to start with like a rip, pivot, and jam approach, where you take an idea that's proven already by competition, and then you pivot away from that, so you have your own unique field. Still, then the question remains, how to evaluate that, and we give some answers to that. But yeah, it's really one of those kick in the butt episodes where we're telling people to do something and get started and do minimum viable product and these kinds of things. And even for people like us, I think it's a good reminder when you say, okay, when I'm going to do my next app, what do I really need to do in order to get started? Do I really need all those features? Can't I extract like even a smaller portion of that as a product? These kinds of questions. So I think it was even very good for us, the hosts, to go back into this question and have some thoughts on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think a lot of our episodes are like good reminders of what we should be doing, and I mean, a lot of times we are doing these things we're talking about, but some of them are the broader ones that you don't repeat every day. They're like, oh, hold on,
Yeah.
we should, like the one that came up recently was, hey man, since we're so busy with all this other stuff, we should hire someone for Macaron Mania. Like we talk about outsourcing constantly, and yes, we do a good job with that, but why don't we push it a little harder?
Yeah.
And basically what we decided is we got too much to do even if we outsourced it. But yeah, it's just these are always good reminders. All right, man, that's the week ahead, and you can see kind of another like a little even further week ahead. We have a bunch of guests lined up, like a ton. CEOs of different companies that are building tools for enterprise mobile app publishers and a lot of B2B stuff. Let's see. Oh, we got a couple some guys that did really great blogs, like sharing their experiences, like the first year in the App Store and things like that. We reached out to those authors, and I think literally every single person has said yes. So that's super
Nice.
exciting. Now it's just coordinating it gets a little much, but yeah. So I think the next couple weeks are going to be a lot of different personalities on the show, and it should be really cool. Get a lot of good insights, and then of course we'll be digging into iOS 8 and all that impacts for
Yeah.
us. And
Cool. So I learned while we were recording this from Alejandro that we're already online. So if you want to check out the podcast episode with the guys of STL Tech Talk, you can find it at stltechtalk.com, and it's episode 49.5. I don't know why we were point 0.5, but yeah,
because we were at
special.
a different we were at a different time than normal. That's what I understood.
Ah,
Because we
okay.
were trying to accommodate the Munich thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it's my fault. I get it.
it's your fault. Yeah.
Cool. So in terms of this week or even next week in the industry, I think iTunes Connect, which you already said, is pretty interesting because it does look much better, although it will take some time to just know our ways around there. But maybe they take this a little bit more seriously because in the past, that was horrible. And other than that, obviously Tuesday is going to be huge. So I'm very
Mhm.
much looking forward to that announcement. Both, because I want a new iPhone, and obviously for the podcast. What do you think? Do you think we are going to get more insights or something really interesting for us as publishers, or just a new iPhone?
Well, no, I think the thing. Well, we don't. Do we even know the dimensions for the new phone? Like, we can't even start creating new screens. For
Hmm. No,
the.
I
We
think
can't, right?
what Apple has said so far is more like indirectly. So like, hey, you should really use auto layout because it
Mm.
looks better on more devices, kind of thing, right? So,
Got it. Okay.
but
Yeah.
of course
So
there's the usual rumors, and they're pretty strong. So I would guess that if you really wanted to do something right now, you could, but we don't have that use case.
right. Well, yeah. We got some new designs for Optin Mobile for you to see too. But
Cool.
yeah, so we'll probably see that, and then I imagine we'll get a better. Right now, I looked, and there's no place to add videos yet or anything, so that's not out yet, and so we'll get a better handle on the videos and how that's going to all work. Although I think we have a pretty good idea. It's pretty much just like your screenshots. You upload a 30-second video. Well, because Sylvain made that great post actually. Um, yeah, other than that, man, I mean, I think the big thing to watch is how many devices they sell, because what always happens when people get new phones is they download apps like crazy. So it should be a pretty exciting time as far as revenue goes for our people who have apps in the store right now, because this always tends to drive a ton of
Sorry, Chris,
downloads.
I lost you right after you said the big thing to look forward to, and then it was gone.
Oh, is the number of devices that are sold, because new devices always drive new app downloads, and
Yeah,
so you'll
that's
see a
true.
spike you see a spike in your downloads and revenue hopefully.
Nice.
Um, yeah, I'm most excited to see. Well, I'm still rocking this kind of iPhone, even though I don't really use it. But I have, what is this, the 4, and now I just have it because it's good to test on it. But I'm kind of in the market for a phone, and so I don't know when we're going to get these things in Colombia. Maybe I'll have my mom mail me something down or something. But um, yeah, it'll be cool to play around with the new phone and see what's so cool about it. Like, is it way faster, way more beautiful, whatever. Um, I think I've made it clear I'm not really much of an Apple fanboy, but yeah, I mean, it drops so much revenue. It'll be really interesting to see. Does the market respond, or are they getting tired of these things, and are they moving to Samsung? Um, I think the early signs point to the market is not tired of these things, and they love this stuff. So
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm thinking too. And again, I'm gonna get a new iPhone, so I'm in the market.
cool.
Cool.
Yeah,
Um,
outside of that, I think next week will be a really exciting ABP Weekly, because we've done this before where we're anticipating and stuff, and it's like it's cool and all, but it's more fun to, like, okay, let's see everything, get our hands on it, play with it for a couple days, and then we can share our thoughts and read everyone else's thoughts and all that stuff.
yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but at the same time, what is it, Tuesday, right? It should be, is it Tuesday, the 9th? Yeah, it
Yeah.
should be a interesting day for Apple news and mobile news, and then the rest of that week we'll have write-ups about it, and so next week will be a news-heavy week, I'm sure. But I like those weeks. I love reading about this stuff. So
Nice. Cool. I
yeah,
don't think we have any questions this week. So do you want to wrap it up?
yeah, yeah. So just a reminder, we'll have to put that link on our site, the St. Louis Tech Talk. Yeah, a reminder, we're at what is it? abpweekly.com. Every week, every Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern. I know that we understand people have jobs, and uh, in the West Coast at 7 a.m. and it's just really, we're doing it whether you guys show up or not, basically. So if you guys have questions for us, sometimes we have a ton of questions, sometimes we have none. So just a good way to connect with us if you have questions. And then, of course, there's the Facebook group and the newsletter. So go check us out on Facebook at at Business Podcast, at Business Podcast, and then at businesspodcast.com for our website and the newsletter and all sorts of cool stuff.
Yeah, and one
Other
last
than that,
thing.
man, oh
If
yeah,
you do have questions, you can't make the live hangout here, then you can always send them via email, and then just be a little bit more, specific, maybe a paragraph or so, because then we can, when you're live in the chat, we can respond and you can ask another question, something like that, but be a little bit more precise then. But we're happy to take your questions even if you can't make it.
if we don't know the answer, we'll just fake it. And no, I'm just kidding. All right. Well, David, I'll talk to you in a little bit probably, and thanks, listeners. We'll talk to you. We'll see you guys next week.
Thanks. Bye.